Is it worth it to suffer? That's what the question is for this church. This is what Jesus addresses for this letter to the church of Smyrna. So we read in verse 8, "To the angel of the church in Smyrna write, these are the words of him who is the first and the last, the Alpha and the Omega, who died and came to life again. I know your afflictions and your poverty." Again, now we go into, I know this about you. This is not about the belief. This is about, I know what you're going through. I know your deeds. Yet you are rich. Matthew 5 says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs the kingdom of heaven." And it says also in verse 10, "Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." And in verse 11, "Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil things against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven, for in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you." So you are richly blessed and rewarded when you stand firm in the midst of that persecution. In 1 Peter, we read this in 1 Peter 1, 6 through 9. "In this you greatly rejoice, though now for a little while you may have had to suffer grief in all kinds of trials. These have come so that your faith, of greater worth than gold, which perishes even though refined by fire, may be proved genuine and may result in praise, glory, and honor when Jesus Christ is revealed. Though you have not seen him, you love him, and even though you do not see him now, you believe in him and are filled with an inexpressible and glorious joy, for you are receiving the goal of your faith, the salvation of your souls." So we continue in Revelation now. "I know the slander of those who say that they are Jews and are not, but are a synagogue of Satan." Okay, so cultural context here. Again, there's little things that are put into each of these letters that are specific to these churches, to the culture, to the area, that he uses to bring some connection. In Smyrna, it was a seaport. It was known for its beauty, but it also was a city known for suffering. A lot of the statues were weeping statues. The name itself was a Greek name for spices that were used in embalming. This is also the first city where the temple to the goddess Roma was erected. So there's a lot of mourning mist that came out of this city. And here you see it being pervasive throughout the Christian community. They were boycotted, they lost jobs, they faced an incredible amount of economic discrimination. This is also where Polycarp, who was a disciple of John, who was martyred. Now, he's the only one that we know who was martyred in this region, but the Jews had a hand in it. So even in him saying, "I know the slander of those who say they are Jews and are not, but are a synagogue of Satan." The synagogue of Satan is referring to that temple to the goddess Roma. So then he continues, "Do not be afraid of what you are about to suffer. I tell you, the devil will put some of you in prison to test you, and you will suffer persecution for 10 days, a short time. Be faithful." Now, we don't fully know history-wise if that took place or not for exact 10 days. We don't know that. But he is referring to a short amount of time of severe persecution. "Be faithful even to the point of death, and I will give you the crown of life." Now, this is another reference to this particular region, because this Acropolis, Mount Pegasus, loomed over the city, and it was often described as a crown. And so it's giving that, but also it's a play on. It's also referring to the laurel crown that was given to somebody who ran their race and they finished strong, and they would receive this crown. And this is a victor's crown. And so he's talking about this. You're in this area where you have a crown that looms over you, but you also will receive the victor's crown. So finally he ends with this. "He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. He who overcomes," which we talked about just in the last church, "he who overcomes will not be hurt at all by the second death." So is it worth it to suffer for the cause of Christ? Yes. Yes, it is. And it's short. It's only but a short time compared to the eternity. And when he's saying the persecution for 10 days, we don't know what that picture looked like for these people. But in the expanse of eternity is a very short time to go through persecution here on earth. But when you hold on to the God with all your might and with all your strength, and you do not give up. Though you may suffer on earth, you will not die the second death, which is the complete separation from God and eternal torment with the enemy. You will be given a crown of life. So yes, it is worth it. It may be hard and it is painful, but in the end, it is worth it all. And as Peter said, all of these things are adding to your character. They're strengthening you, and you will be greatly rewarded, as we saw in Matthew. So join me again next time as we talk about the church where Satan had his rule.